There was a single light globe in a pole under the old Norfolk Bridge. And people would appear out of the mist, dressed in overcoats in those days, always wearing caps, and then they'd open the coat up and pull out a big trout and wade in. I can always remember that because it was so eerie that you didn't see these people coming, you just heard footsteps and then they'd appear because it was just a 200 watt light globe on a pole. There was no such thing as daylight saving, so early in the season and late in the season it would always be dark, and especially up to Derwent it'd be a bit misty or foggy, especially early in the season. About 1953, when my father used to take me to the Norfolk Anglers Club fishing competition. And I think all I did was throw stones and climb trees and things like that. I think I annoyed him more than helped him fish. So all the anglers, they were all wearing suit coats and hats and ties, and it really looked as if they was going to a funeral or a wedding or something. But they'd hop in boats and they'd go down in that little stretch around the mouth of the Derwent River area. In 3 hours they'd come back with 15 fish and things like that. You talk about that now, it's unreal to think of those figures, because if you went fishing now and had a good night, you'd probably catch 3 or 4. So and we'd walk up the river and there were some beautiful sandy beaches there between the poplar trees, and on a sunny afternoon you could just see the fish, this nice sandy bottom. They're all gone now because there's hardly any access to the river. You'd use old bait lot reels and cane rods and that type of thing. And you'd sit there during the day and you'd watch the cork move around, and all of a sudden it'd disappear and then you had something. Now you go down there, if you can find a spot, it'll be a slimy, muddy bottom. I relate a lot of that to the hydro dams. The river doesn't get the flushes anymore, but it did. When they were building those dams, a lot of rubbish went in the river. Even downstream further, in the early 60s, mid-60s, I worked at Boyer, and for a period I was a cleaner in the grinder room. I was as guilty as anybody, but the amount, I reckon we put in hundreds of tons of pulp into that river every night. And people didn't see it because it was dark. The pulp that was washed into the river would go to the bottom, and as it decayed, it built up gases and it lift up and float, and it was like big cow pats. But I can remember it well. Some of them would have been 20, 30 feet long and 10 foot wide. They were just all floating down the river everywhere, and they floated right down into Hobart. In the warmer times, you'd hear people complaining down this way about that scene. No doubt in places up there that just rotted away and just caused a lot of that silt on the bottom of the river. At night it'd be like a bonfire night, you'd drive up the river, there'd be fires everywhere of people fishing, but you go up there now, you can't even find a fishing hole. Most of them are grown over with willows and blackberries. And a lot of the fishermen cause the problem themselves. They'll colourful willow stick, drive in the ground. That's their stake for their rod, and next year it's a tree. And then the blackberries go from tree to tree, extend that. But up the valley, people, they hardly go fishing. People are different now. And blackberries and willows, they really annoy me.